What role do you see women engineers playing in driving innovation and change within the transportation sector?
I see us doing big things, especially in the future. We're doing stuff right now, but throughout my 17 years with the department, I've seen a big change where a lot of women.
In an industry long dominated by men, women engineers are breaking barriers and driving transformative change in transportation. They're not just participating, they're leading the way, shaping the future of travel with innovative ideas and solutions that have a lasting impact on the sector. In this episode, I'm joined by Jennita Sumter-Jacobs, civil engineer at the South Carolina Department of Transportation, to explore the remarkable transitions and contributions of women engineers in revolutionizing transportation. From designing safer roads to advancing more efficient public transit systems, these trailblazers are redefining how we move and creating a more sustainable future. I am your host, Tiffany Teachy, and this is the Women in Engineering Podcast. And with that, let's jump right into today's episode. All right, I am so excited to have our guest for today. Now it's time to jump right into the main segment of our episode. Today I have with me Jennita Sumter-Jacobs. Jennita, welcome to the Women in Engineering Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, Jennita, can you start by telling us a bit more about yourself and what you do daily at the South Carolina Department of Transportation?
Well, I'm Jersey native. I've been living in South Carolina for a long time. I graduated from South Carolina State University with a degree in electrical engineering. And I've been with the South Carolina Department of Transportation for 17 years and some months. And on a daily basis, I run a unit here in Calhoun County. And what we do here is we basically serve the citizens of Calhoun. Part of it is part of Lexington and part of Orangeburg as well. And we go out and we make sure that the roads, the bridges, that sort of thing are clear for the traveling public. So we're the reason why everybody gets to where they need to go. The emergency vehicles, the police, just day-to-day people trying to get to their job. We make sure that, the roads are clear, that is safe out there so that people can get through that are traveling through the state of South Carolina. But my main focus is Calhoun and part of Lexington County and part of Orangeburg County as well.
Wow. You're making a difference. Safety is key.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Now, as we talk about that, what role do you see women engineers playing in driving innovation and change within the transportation sector?
I see us doing big things, especially in the future. We're doing stuff right now, but throughout my 17 years with the department, I've seen a big change where a lot of women have come into DOT. Right now, in my district that I'm in, I'm the only female resident maintenance engineer, which there were some before me, but they have passed away due to health issues. But it's a majority male-dominated field. But I think in the future that we will dominate or either be equally competitive with our male counterparts. But I would love to see more of us in this field of transportation because I think that we have great ideas. There's a lot more women at the headquarters division that are engineers there who I often communicate with them on a day-to-day basis. And we have that called girl power, when we see each other at engineering. So I would love to see more of, females and young women come into the field.
That's key. And I love that you say you feel inspired when you see others in it and the way that you're doing it and paving the path for other women and girls to be able to see themselves in it. That's amazing. And so I agree. We got to see more of us in there. So the whole girl power, the fact that you say that you see that, that's key. So thank you for sharing that and the innovations that's happening. Now, what are some of the most groundbreaking innovations in transportation engineering you've been involved with at SCDOT? And how do you think they will impact the future of infrastructure?
I've been involved with right now currently. One of the projects that they have going on is the I-26 widening project. And that project is through the state of South Carolina. it's basically a contract with construction, but one of the things that we take part in maintenance is making sure that we maintain that area so that it does stay safe for this traveling public on the interstate, like picking up litter and trash and that sort of thing, making sure that, there's no type of deficiencies that are going on while people are, trying to travel through a construction site. So we're making big waves in that, and with the infrastructure that's coming to South Carolina. There's a lot of permits coming through our office where we have a lot of businesses and a lot of different companies that are coming to South Carolina, where they weren't coming before, but now we see that infrastructure going, and we see a lot of people moving to South Carolina. So this is a big part of the transportation. It's an exciting time to be in the transportation field and to, be a part of what's going on. I'm glad that I'm in the transportation field right now where, all of this infrastructure is going on in the state of South Carolina. So it's a wonderful thing to be a part of.
I feel the excitement and passion in it. So, if anybody doesn't want to know about it, this is the opportunity to learn more about it. I could tell from your passion, Jennita, that you are into this transportation side of things. And I think that's key to get more to understand it, the basis of it. So how do you think emerging technologies like smart traffic systems and autonomous vehicles, and let me know others know about that, are shaping the future of transportation infrastructure?
Well, I think that it's a way of the future we're all looking at, and I hope that we are around to see it, but we already see electric cars, those been around for a while, but eventually we're probably going to look at where there are on the roadways where there's nothing but electric cars. And that's all part of the transportation, future that we see. And the economy, basically the environment friendly, and also, what we're seeing now is not going to be what it is in the future, maybe 20 years from now. One of the things that South Carolina is maybe also going to look forward to in the future is bringing back kind of like a transit system where people can get, on a train and that sort of thing and get to their jobs and not have to, rely on their car or vehicle if they don't want to. And being, from Jersey originally and growing up there as a young person, there was the transit system that, ran through, New York and New Jersey and Philadelphia and, up north. So seeing that maybe come to South Carolina, where I was told a long time ago, they did have that, where people could get on the train and go to different towns and that sort of thing. I think it would be a lot better on the environment, a lot safer in the future and that sort of thing. And then you have the choice of whether or not you want to get in your vehicle and drive, or you want to maybe take the transit system.
I think that's key. And the fact you say the comparisons of bringing it to another town or a city and everything, that's the key of using that experience from other things in places and be able to bring it to here. So I love how you said those are some opportunities that maybe could be taken advantage of in your location as well. Now, when you talk about, representing as a woman engineer, what challenges have you faced as a woman engineer staying at the forefront of technology advancement, and how have you overcome them?
I would say that there were some challenges, especially in the beginning when I came to the transportation department, or even starting with engineering and going back to college, where, you are maybe one of the only females in your class or your group. So it was something I was used to with working with predominantly men. But it has its good points and it has its bad points. Sometimes I feel like sometimes we have to speak up. We have to be that voice. We can't let them, kind of take over and make us, like I always say, like the secretary out the group, or give us the project paperwork to do. And that coincides with or transfers into work aspects of things where it's like, okay, well, hey, can you do the paperwork or can you make the phone calls? No, I want to go into detail and build the project and put my ideas into it as well. So sometimes we have to just kind of speak up and let them know that, we're just as smart. We have, the capability to come up with ideas, and we can all make this happen together. So I think that, those are some of the obstacles that I've had to overcome. also in the position I'm in now, I'm the first, female to be in this position. So, it was kind of a change for a field of, predominantly men that work here in the maintenance field, to have a female as their supervisor. And it took some time to, grow on them and let them know that I've been with DOT for a while, and I've worked out in construction and worked in the field. And I know what I'm talking about, but I'm also open to your ideas as well. And there's some things that we can change and some things that we may keep the same. So I think when I first got here, it was like, oh no, she's going to be coming here and just, sweep everything clean and just take over. But I didn't do that. I gradually kind of, made my way into things. I've also learned that, being in the South and being around Southern gentlemen, I would call them, they don't like for, women to kind of bring them out in front of other men. So, when they're wrong, sometimes it's like, bring them to the side and kind of tell them, hey, we can't do this because of X, Y, Z, or the way you did that wasn't correct. But to correct them in front of their fellow coworkers that are males, it kind of, being a female, it's like, oh my God, like, why did she do that in front of everybody? And, they just don't like that too well. So that was, something I had to pick up on, that, kind of, pull them to the side and have a conversation with them one-on-one, instead of, in front of their friends where they're, or not friends, but coworkers, where they're trying to, have a certain image, and they don't like for a woman to kind of like, fuss at them in front of everybody. So that was, or correct them in front of everybody.
Love that tip. So good tip to learn from, especially in the environment that we're in, as far as if you're in a male dominant. And it does depend on locations and all of that factors as well, when it comes to the environment you're in. But at the end of the day, I get you with the whole role of the taking notes and getting you mistaken from that. It's like, you've hit on some key things, especially as women engineers, that we have to sometimes make sure that they understand our competency and capability. So kudos to you for representing as the first, making, but you won't be the last. We're going to put it like that for your experience.
won't. I'm doing it for all the young women out there, no matter where you're from or, what your background is. I kind of put up with a lot in the beginning, but I said, I'm doing this for that little girl, no matter, where she comes from or whatever, that wants to be an engineer here in Calhoun County one day, that, she could, come here and have that respect. And I paved the, door for her to walk into and not have to kind of go through some of the struggles that I went through in the beginning.
I love it. Now let's talk about it. When you say, dealing with the public sector organization, in your opinion, how can public sector organizations better support women engineers in leading innovation?
Oh, well, I think that they can support us by, just kind of letting people know that we are here and we are in the workforce, and that we need, maybe the tools or different things that they may have out there that can help us out would be a great thing, to help us in the future in working with the community, working with just different entities within the state and the government, the towns and that sort of thing, communities, and, putting everything together where we can be on one team and, make our environment a better place to live in. And, as far as like, even what we do is, pick up litter sometimes. And then we have community, events or activities where they teach children, hey, not to litter, or maybe even have them volunteer and come and, pick up litter in the area where the school is or the neighborhood and that sort of thing. And I think that later on you develop, people in the future that are grown-ups that are like, okay, I'm not going to throw my trash out the window. I'm going to make sure that my neighborhood stays clean and that sort of thing. So I think that, communicating with the public, educating the children and the students and that sort of thing, and getting them involved in the community and letting them know exactly what we do here at Department of Transportation.
That's good. It's all about that awareness. They hear
yes,
what you
it is.
what you do, but getting that awareness out in the community, I think, is key as well. So yeah, I love it that you're, educating them as far as the whole public sector versus private sector, and the resources that's needed for you. Now let's talk about what skills or areas of expertise do you believe are essential for women engineers to thrive in today's rapidly evolving transportation industry?
I think the foundation is when, if you decide to go into this field, is to basically get the fundamentals of math and science. That's the beginning of, becoming an engineer. My background is electrical engineering, and this is, this role that I play is basically with civil engineers. So majoring in the civil engineering field, if you plan on going in transportation, there is transportation engineers going into that field and getting that background that you need. Doing an internship is a great thing so that you know that if this is something you want to do. When I was in school, I did my internship with the VA hospital in Johnson City, Tennessee. And that's where I first got a feel kind of the civil engineering field, even though I majored in electrical. But I guess that was really kind of my calling, was to do civil engineering. One of my projects there was putting in a road in a VA hospital. So it went into a cemetery. And I think that gave me that background, that experience, me working with a contractor and that sort of thing. And I really loved what I did. So I think that for women and young girls that want to get involved in engineering and transportation, doing an internship, a co-op, maybe with a organization or a firm, or even the transportation department, to get that feel and that background of what we do, and to see if that's something that you want to go into and that you like.
I mean, that's good. That's good. And the fact that you did electrical and civil, I mean, the switch from that end, I mean, you got a variety in your portfolio.
Yes.
So, I mean, what made you decide to switch over that way? Just curious in that way of the civil.
Well, I'm just going to say it was basically the recession back in 2007, 2008. I think it went into 2009. I was working for a company in Myrtle Beach and I got laid off. And then I went back to my internship where it was working with the government and the state. And I basically said to myself, I like working with the government, let me put in for some jobs, working with the state and see how that goes. And I kind of looked into transportation and what they did. And I say, you know what, I would love to go work for, this transportation department. And, they basically at DOT require that you have an engineering degree. It doesn't really matter discipline in engineering, but that you have a 4-year engineering degree to come in as an engineer one.
Okay. Well, I mean, by having the problem solving, the skills and all that, engineering plays a role with all of that, critical thinking. So the fact that they said, as long as you got that piece, you're capable and competent to be able to do it. So, and obviously you've got it if you've been able to do all different facets of it to be where you are today. So kudos to you, Jennita.
And I loved it. Once I got here, I was just so thankful. And I thank God for, giving me the opportunity. And I love the fact that I can work out in the field and also in the office as well and solving problems, like you said. So I felt like this was a perfect fit for me.
Love it. Love it. Now, as we get to the final piece, as far as advice and everything, can you give the engineers, especially women, and you've touched on it a little bit, but what final piece of advice can you give to engineers, especially women who aspire to lead and drive innovation in the transportation industry?
I would say just, do your research, look into what it is that we do. If you like, helping people out. Sometimes, in my position that I'm in now, I worked hard to get to this position that I'm in as a resident maintenance engineer. And I started off in the beginning, in construction, and now I'm in maintenance. I would say find what it is that you want to do and that you love to do. And if engineering is so broad, so, if you can get that experience in different aspects of it, then get that experience in different aspects of it. Don't give up. That's what you want to do. If you have that mindset where you want to be a leader, this position that I'm in, I said, if God gave me the opportunity to be in this position, I would take some of the things that I've learned from different managers I've had over the years, different mentors, and some of the things I probably would do differently. And I have done that differently in this field. And there was sometimes I was treated a certain way, and I said I would never treat anybody, the way that I was treated if that was wrong. And there was some things that I learned that was really, good. And I took that with me as I moved into this position. I had a supervisor one time when I was in construction. I used to go to him and I would ask him, how do you do this? Or, where is this at? And he would say, did you look in the black book? Did you look at the standard drawings before you asked me? And I thought it was kind of cold at the time, but he was teaching me, to look up stuff before I actually came to him. And then if I sat there and I couldn't absolutely find it, then come ask him. But, just don't keep coming back and asking. I would say one of the things to tell, engineers or young women that want to go into engineering fields, make sure that you take notes, make sure that you know where to look for something at. And that's one of the keys, is that your managers or your supervisors look for, that you know how to find that information. You're not going to know everything, but you need to know how to research and how to look up stuff and where you find that information. And then it makes you into a better engineer. So it's not all about math and science, but it is about, being able to show that you can do the work and that you can, where to look for it at and where to find it. So I think that that's a good, start and aspect, and something that you could take with you along the way, because you don't want to have to keep going to your supervisor and asking them, how do I do this? How do I do that? When they have already showed you once. So make sure you take notes and make sure you write stuff down, because being a female and being a minority in this field, and it's a male dominated field, and you don't want to keep coming back like kind of ditzy or whatever, like you're not picking up on it and you don't know what you're doing. So you want to just write down, just take some notes and go back to your notes and see what it is that you need to do. So that's one of the things that's helped me along the way. And I had a supervisor that told me in the beginning to do that. You don't want to have to keep coming back to your supervisor and asking them over and over again.
Jennita has been giving us some great tips, advice. Lessons learned. Thank you so much. Jennita, you've been a great guest. Thank you for all that you've shared, gems and everything too. One last thing. How can people get more from you or get in touch with you from what ways? I don't know, LinkedIn.
What ways can they get in touch with me? Mm-hmm. Well, I do have a Facebook page. You can message me. My name on there is Jennita Sumter-Jacobs. I am on TikTok or whatever. I have a TikTok page. It's most of the things that I'm on. It says Jennita Yolanda. So you can get in touch with me through there. You can, get in touch with me by emailing me if you need to email me, and you can drop it in the description on the video, my email address. So I am looking for an intern this summer. So I think they start mailing out, have our job postings go out in like January or February for SCDOT. So I would love to have a female intern. I've had plenty of guys interns, which they were great, and all of them have jobs. One of them, he works for another company, I think in Tennessee last time I talked to him. But the other two interns I've had while I worked here, they both work for SCDOT at this point. And two of them were South Carolina State graduates. That's my alma mater. Okay. So I would love to have a female engineer come in and just show her some things and mentor her for the summer, and so she could get that experience. But if the guys are out there and they apply, then come on and apply.
Love it.
I just looking forward to having an intern this year. I didn't get one last year, but if you want to apply at SCDOT.org, usually the posters go out in January or February.
Love it. Well, thank you, Jennita, for being such a great guest on the show.
Thank you, Tiffany, for having me. I love seeing you again. I miss seeing you in Nesby. I kind of, need to get back on the ball and get back into it as well. But January, hopefully I'll be able to return back active like I was before.
And then just in case those that don't know what NSBE is, National Society of Black Engineers, NSBE for short. So that is another way to connect and network. That is how me and Jennita have met. And so just thankful for all that she's doing, continue to do, and keep making a difference. Okay?
You do the same, Tiffany. I'm so proud of you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you won't miss our upcoming episodes featuring interviews with inspiring women engineers, discussions about industry trends, and much more. Go to womeninengineeringpodcast.com where you will find a summary of the key points discussed in today's episode, as well as links to any of the resources, websites, or books mentioned during this episode. Until next time, may your engineering endeavors be as remarkable as the women whose stories we're sharing. Stay curious, keep innovating, and engineer a better future.